So we should be good. That's it. Easy peasy. Now we're all synced up, and this is our start. So,
Okay, let's go. Let's roll.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So we were in yesterday, and we had a handful of beers. You guys got...
A handful?
We had 6 of them.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Okay.
A little more than a handful.
The brewer's handful.
Yeah. So
like a baker's dozen, but a brewer's brewer's handful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we got. I love the. What is it? The crunchy heavy.
That's our best-selling beer.
Oh my gosh, it's
100%.
delicious.
100%.
It's good. And then I like the. Is it Sienna? Sienna was another good one.
It's an old school recipe of mine. It's a home brewer that's got quite a story. Yes.
And then what is it? Evil Ernie.
Evil Ernie was one developed for Earnest Brew Works to be like the ultimate, the biggest. You got a spectrum of beers, and you got Easy on the one side, and then boom, Evil Ernie is kicking
at the end.
It's like, all the way over.
It's like whatever it is at Hooters, like nuclear hot or whatever it is.
Oh, it's big. It's big.
It's delicious. I loved it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's very good. Well, before we get too far involved, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for everybody?
Yeah, my name is Scot Yarnel. I'm one of the owners and co-founders, creators, developers of Earnest Brew Works. My business partner, Keith Snyder, and I met. His name is Keefe, K-E-E-F-E, not Keith. I'm telling you, I met him at a homebrew club, and we have meetings every month at the homebrew club years ago. And I thought it was Keith. I mean, I didn't. I thought when he said Keefe, I thought he just had a speech thing.
Sure.
Like, oh, I'm Keefe. And I just thought he just, had a lisp or something. But I didn't know, I never met anybody named Keefe before. But anyways, me and Keefe, we figured out we lived close to each other.
Okay.
When we were in the homebrew clubs, so we started brewing together. And it was like, bam, you get 2 homebrewers together, and you're going to talk about just brewing beer.
Yeah.
That's all we're going to talk about. And that's what we did, brewing beer, opening a brewery. So we talked about opening a brewery, and we opened up Earnest Brew Works in South Toledo.
Okay.
In 2016. In 2021, we opened up downtown.
Yeah.
And I was going to say this year, but it's changed. It's early January, so people get confused. So in 2023, we opened up Westgate, where we're at now. Westgate I really like a lot. I'm not an architect or anything like that, but there are certain styles, certain things I take that when you go into a brewery, you don't feel like you're in a restaurant here.
No.
There's a space, the way it's utilized, it's laid out.
Yeah.
You feel you're in a different kind of space because it is different. You're in a brewery.
Yeah.
We serve no food. Mm-hmm. We're very Spartan on our decor, which you'll get with lots of breweries. We're all about the beer.
Sure.
And I want
it's
customers
to
feel this. That you're in a different kind of space. I want you to be in a different kind of frame of mind when you come here.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem that familiar.
And it's not like going to like a bar,
No, yeah. There's no look. If you look over there, there's no liquor bottles. And when you come in here, if you didn't know about breweries, you're like confused of what this space is for.
Right.
And then you look at the menu. It's like only beer.
Yeah.
And then if you really look at the menu, it's only beer just from Ernest.
Yeah.
It's like a factory store.
So then your menu also is kick-ass. So we'll touch on that. Like, how you guys, like the artwork that you guys have for each individual beer, who does those?
Jason Sanderson.
Okay.
He is a Bedford school teacher. He teaches art up there at the high school level.
Yeah.
I didn't know the guy at all until we opened up Earnest in South Toledo. And he was coming there as a regular customer, and he would be bugging me like, hey, I can make you some signs. I'm like, I'm not just getting some rando sitting at the bar making me some signs.
Yeah, some guy
but
scribbling
he
on a
kept
napkin.
bugging me, I gave him a couple of these boards because at the time we just had whatever barkeep was available, whoever had good penmanship. The signs were not that fancy. I'm looking at one for Gales in November now.
Yeah.
And they're like, that sign would have just been like said Gales in November, and that would have been it. Right. And now Jason, he elevated it to another level. It is incredible what Sanderson has done.
Oh, and they all have obviously you look at the glasses, they have their own unique vibe to them.
Oh my God, they do.
But even so, the sign kind of helps give you that vibe about it too.
Yeah. And this is a common thing. When you go to like real breweries, not breweries that are like restaurants first, but breweries that are about the beer, signage is very important. It helps try to tell the story. When you come in, you start to see this, and you get a good vibe and a feel. You read the menu, you talk to the staff. We're about the beer experience. And I don't want to geek out too much about it.
That's why we're here, man.
That's what we're trying to pull off. Yeah, we're just at a beer bar. We don't just buy the stuff from some unknown suppliers.
Sure.
Yeah, it's made here. I designed several of these beers.
Okay.
My business partners designed several beers. We got a guy, Trevor, that helps us out. He's designed some beers. We collaborate on beers. We've taken beer recipes from our community that we know.
Yeah.
It's all over the place on where the recipes come from and stuff, but they're all unique to Earnest, though.
That's awesome. So, before we get too far from it, you got Keith and you got yourself. How do you guys come up with Earnest?
Earnest.
Yeah.
That is great. Earnest is because before we even selected our building, before we even, I think maybe, well, it had to be before we formed an LLC, we were trying to come up with a name.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't want to name it after ourselves. We didn't want to be like Keith Brewery
or
Yarnel Brewery, my last name.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to be geographical. I mean, you got Maumee Bay already. We didn't want to be Buckeye Brewing. We didn't want to be, what else? Lucas County Brewing, Glass City Brewing.
Right.
And I guarantee you there's going to be, mark my words, there's going to be a Glass City Brewery. Somebody will open one up.
Sure.
But we didn't want to be about that. So it took us about a month, and we came up with the word Earnest.
Mm-hmm.
Earnest, it means honest, sincere.
Okay.
Serious and to be earnest.
Yeah.
Like you're in real estate. If
Sure.
someone says, hey, Kyle, I would recommend him. He's an earnest real estate agent.
Yeah.
You want that to identify with being earnest. It's a good thing to be. I strive to be earnest. Our beers strive to be earnest.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to be honest and sincere.
I'm kind of glad that came up after you kind of described the culture of of these, your locations, because you already kind of described it before I knew it wasn't somebody's name.
Yeah.
So what was it? Had you been to a few other breweries where you were like, I want to instill that culture into what I'm trying to do? What was it that was kind of like, this is what I'm going for?
Well, it was a lot of breweries in Michigan.
Okay.
I mean, I really am a huge fan of Founders, Bell's, even Brewery Vivant in Grand Rapids. There's so many cool breweries. Michigan kicks Michigan kicks Ohio's ass in beer culture.
Yeah.
Ohio's doing a good job, but not as good as Michigan. Vermont breweries, I really like them. I've been to Vermont a couple different times, specifically for breweries.
Yeah.
Of course, Alchemist is very, very cool over there in Vermont. And other breweries are around, even in Ohio, there's some breweries I take some cues from. Rheingeist, I like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Great Lakes, even though they're old school, I like what they do.
Yeah.
But the beer culture is what we're trying to be about. Like Bell's is started by Larry Bell.
Okay.
He had a homebrew shop in Kalamazoo, and he had his homebrew there, and people were like, hey, you make such good beer, why don't you open your own brewery? So Larry did. And several of the people I really respect are brewery owners. And that's what was missing in Toledo when I opened.
Yeah.
I know some people are going to call me on it. What about this or that? Okay, I mean, there weren't dozens of them. There were a couple peppered here and there, but Toledo's a number 70 market in the country. You would think we'd have more than 2 brewer-owned breweries. Maumee Bay is not a brewer-owned brewery, and no one's going to call me out on that. The owners of Maumee Bay don't develop any recipes. They don't do any brewing or anything.
Yeah.
But at the time I opened, we had Black Cloister, which kind of was brewer-owned, but the brewer was actually a hired person.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really brewer-owned. Ours is brewer-owned. Believe me, these recipes, I can tell you all about them. I mean, I created them, and we're brewer-owned, just like Larry Bell's, Founders, Ken Grossman from Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
He is a brewer-owned brewery. Calagione from Dogfish Head, brewer-owned.
So when you and Keith kind of got together, was it like, we're doing this to get to this point where you guys are at now, 3 locations and all the fun community outreach stuff you're doing, or was it just kind of like a couple of dudes being guys and it kind of turned into this?
Well, Kyle, what you said, my business plan has changed a lot.
Sure.
When Keith and I opened in 2016, it was late, so say 2017 is when we were really hitting our first year.
Yeah.
Breweries that I respected and that I business modeled after had one location, and then they did a lot of distro and just had a public space that was just a tap room.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going to Founders. They expanded several times to be what they are now, and now Founders is owned by the Spaniard, San Miguel.
Yeah.
But Founders has one location. When I was going there back in 2014, 15, they didn't quite expand yet, and they had a lot of distro, and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to really distribute my beer in multiple states, and you could buy my beer, and then if suppose you live in, BFE, Southern Illinois, and you get to Toledo hardly ever, but but a cousin of a cousin,
Yeah.
has a baby and says, hey, come and visit baby in Toledo. Like, well, I've been kind of wanting to go to Toledo because I drink this beer,
Yeah.
in my podunk town in southern Illinois, in Toledo, and I'll travel there to go drink it. And because really tap rooms were just an extension of your distro business.
Okay.
With the breweries, I was respected. Dogfish Head.
Yeah.
So famous, almost nationwide. They got like one location in Rehoboth Beach,
Yeah.
Delaware. It's not like there's Dogfish Heads everywhere.
Sure.
In fact, I got more locations than Dogfish Head.
That's
so
kind of a cool thing to say, though.
I know,
Yeah.
because they're great. Now
Yeah.
they're owned by Sam Adams, which I also really respect.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is this was not our business plan. Our business plan was to open up, brew some great beers,
Mm-hmm.
use a tap room because that's where you get the direct customer involvement. When
Sure.
customers drinking my beer and I'm talking to them, they tell me they like this, they don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm not brewing for myself anymore. When I was a home brewer, there are homebrew recipes I love. I don't even.
You never
I
bring
mean,
in. Yeah.
I don't even bring in because it's a beer for one.
Yeah.
For myself, I was brewing it. Now I'm trying to brew beer for the community.
Yeah.
So the feedback was helping, and we do that to develop recipes.
That's a tricky thing to like kind of learn, like especially like even for myself. Like once I got into real estate, was I'm not shopping for myself. I might go into a house and be like, that fireplace looks like hell. Why do you guys want it? And they're like, we love it. Let's put an offer. I'm like, oh, I should shut the fuck up. Excuse me.
Or anybody that buys a house with a skinny driveway.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm done. I've
Yeah.
had those in the past. No,
Yeah.
I'm done.
And I've got a truck, and I'm like, no thanks. And they're like, oh, we don't really use the driveway anyways. This is
What?
perfect for us. And then I'm like, whatever, lady, whatever you want. I'm not living here. You are. So I try and be very, like, again, to your point, like, very, like, just, hey, what do you guys
No,
what are you guys
I'm
shopping
all
for?
about the community.
Yeah.
A lot of the beers, we've changed them and tweaked them, and we've
Yeah.
brought stuff out because the public, that's what they want.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm here for. We have a mission statement. We developed it even before we opened, because I learned that at University of Toledo, taking a business classes there. But our mission statement is this: we choose to brew great beer for our community's enjoyment.
Yeah.
So it tells you what we do, that we brew great beer, but we also choose to brew great beer.
Yeah.
It's a choice that we're constantly talking to our customers, getting
Yeah.
feedback, tweaking our recipes, putting out new stuff, but we're doing it for our community's enjoyment. If our community is not enjoying the beer,
Then what are you
then
doing?
we're not hitting our mission
Yeah.
statement. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it keeps it fun, too, because then it's not just, looking at numbers on a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
right? We're sitting here talking
Yeah.
to each other, and I'm telling you, like, I've been here a couple of times, and I've had, the Crunchy Hippie, and I drank that one. I'm like, this might be my beer.
Coach Apin's so popular. But to get what you said about numbers on a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
one of my capstone classes at UT was, I wish I could remember the name of the professor, but it was all blurred back then in my life.
Sure.
But I do remember this. He introduced the whole semester was saying, hey, you're in a capstone class for business. If you set out to make money, that's all you're going to do. He
Yeah.
took a long pause because a bunch were like, well, fuck yeah, we want to make some money.
Right.
But then he kept going as a through line through all his lectures. He would come back to it. Hey, if you really love real estate, you're trying to sell houses. You're trying to place people. What you're really trying to do is place people in houses, place people in homes, or if you're
Yeah.
commercial real estate, trying to help a young business, trying to find the right properties they can start. You're not really making money. You're trying to place, and then in turn to make money. I don't make any money. I make beer,
Yeah.
and beer makes me money. And my beer, it serves a purpose. And this professor was really great because there's only one kind of business that makes money, and that would be like, I don't know, those money guys, the broker. I don't know what they
Yeah.
do. Wall Street guys.
Sure.
No, I make beer.
Yeah.
I make beer.
And that's how I prefaced it, because when I first got going, and there's a lot of folks that were in my class when I started that are no longer there, and we just had a bunch of our numbers come out from last year, and for the 419 area, I'm in the top 5% in units sold.
Good job. Hey.
Yeah.
Congrats,
Yeah.
Kyle.
Here we are.
I like that.
And that's only for Ohio, right? So I'm licensed in
yeah.
Michigan too.
Yeah.
So, but I very early on was like listening to how the people that were successful spoke. And I'm like, that's what I want. I don't want it to be genuine, or I want it to be genuine. I don't want to
Yeah.
sound like I'm a solicitor.
Yeah.
So you said the big thing is help. I want to help people do this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at. I want to help people get from
What
going.
are you really trying to do?
Right.
Yeah. If you're trying to make money,
Mhm.
what that causes you to do is
Yeah.
you're cutting corners.
Yep.
You're making shifts. Like, I mean, for me, for cutting corners would be like getting cheap ingredients, trying to buy malt that's not quite right, making
Yeah.
substitutions and recipes just because I got like a yeast really cheap.
Yep.
And also like my making money for me, but like cutting my employees' hours
Sure.
and doing all this other crap.
We're not
that doesn't
offering
help the
competitive
business.
wages,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just a downward spiral for any kind of business, especially in real estate. For you, it's your reputation.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you start lying to people just to make the sale,
Sure.
just because you could lie to someone and say just to make the sale go through,
Yep.
it's going to be found out, and it's going to be
Yeah.
your reputation. But because that's what it is about being only about the money. Is you're just so focused on that
Yep.
that you're not really looking at what are you really trying to do. What
Yeah.
I'm trying to do is brew great beer
Yeah.
for my community's enjoyment, and that's what I'm really trying to do.
And I got
in turn, I would be lovely if I could live off of it.
Sure.
But really, that's not my main goal. Is hopefully I can succeed at making great beer for my community, and
Yeah.
it will turn into money coming to myself. I
Yeah.
won't lie. Yeah.
Sure. And I got in at a unique spot. I got licensed 2 months after I had my first son, and I was going through a bit of we'll call it like a quarter life crisis, I guess, because I knew the kind of
Quarter life, yeah.
I knew the kind of parent that I wanted to be, and I was working at Jeep at the time, and that just didn't align with what I wanted the availability I wanted for my kid.
You were really not a supplier. You're working at the real Jeep.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I
wow.
was working at Chrysler. Yeah.
The real deal. Yeah.
And our brother still works there still, and God bless him. That's how he makes his living, and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I was shopping for my personal house at the time, and I kind of looked across the table, and I was like, man, I want to be able to fill that need in my community, because I didn't see a lot of people that went to public school, like Start High School, that were doing these kind of things and getting back and
this
going.
This guy's a Start Spartan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes,
both of us.
Oh,
Yeah,
All
both
right.
of us.
Shout out to Drew right here.
Yeah.
He's we'll call him the engineer, producer, I guess at this point. Yeah.
The most important person here, maybe.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Because he can hit a button any moment and we'll be off the
Oh,
air.
that's serious. Yeah,
he can shut us down.
We could have not even started. He could just be sitting here laughing at us right now.
Exactly. I assume we're on, right, Drew? Okay, he's nodded. We're on. Okay.
But yeah, to your point, there wasn't like that. Like there was a space carved out for yourself, for myself, where it was like I could fill that void, a brewer-owned brewery.
Yeah.
To help the community and listen to them, and that's how I was with real estate. It was the same kind of way. So you're talking about your guys' kind of outreach. So you have the 3 locations. Do you guys ship anywhere else?
Well, we have a distributor. Heidelberg is a great distributor partner with us, and they move a lot of beer. We're signed for Heidelberg for the whole state, which means if you owned a bar in Marietta, Ohio, you can get Earnest, but it's a long haul to get it because we don't normally stock it in that Heidelberg warehouse. Heidelberg's got like 10 warehouses in the state. We're really strong in Northwest Ohio. There's 14 counties in Northwest Ohio we're strong in.
Yeah.
And then we're really strong in Toledo, and because this is where our home is.
Sure.
And South Toledo especially. Yeah.
So that was your guys' original one. Are you guys from that area? Is that how you landed on it? Or was it just, you saw the right place and you're like, let's do that one? Where was you guys, when was the jumping off point when you went from the garage, I will say, to your first brick and mortar place?
Well, Keith and I, we both had fairly good jobs. When we were formulating this plan. So we really wanted to create a location large enough that we could brew enough so we could quit our daily jobs.
Yeah.
And that was in South Toledo. We found a space. We looked all over Toledo for proper space. But one of the things that you're a real estate guy.
Sure.
We were looking for, we needed to be cheap.
Yeah.
We're not a lot of real estate agents and a lot of people think that we're looking for retail. We were not looking for retail. We're looking for more manufacturing space because that's what we are.
Mm-hmm.
My 5,000 square foot building I have in South Toledo, out of 5,000 square feet, 4,200 square feet is not for the public. And so 800 square feet is for the public.
Yeah.
So really we were looking for cheap real estate. There's a lot of real estate agents, a lot of stuff we're pointing towards were for high traffic counts, all this other stuff that we really didn't need. We needed manufacturing space. We have empty spaces sitting with pallets of cans.
Yeah.
We got a dozen fermenters. It's taking up 1,500 square feet a room. So it was a unique shop for us to try to find a blend that would not be too industrial, but also have a little bit of a retail component to it.
You're talking about the fish out of water thing earlier, and that's exactly how I feel because I know this.
Yeah. Well,
so hearing this aspect of it, even though I'm in real estate, but the middle area is so cool. So what's some of the equipment, behind the scenes that most folks don't like think about? You talk about the fermentation and the cans and things like that.
It's all stainless steel tanks.
Okay.
Yeah. Very nice, very specific stainless steel tanks are our fermenters. They got a cone on the bottom. They're the ones that, whenever you think of brewery equipment, if you ever seen any pictures of brewery equipment, the fermenter is what they take a picture of.
Okay.
There's a whole lot of other process equipment.
Looks kind of like a small silo.
Yeah, exactly,
okay.
yeah. And that's where the beer is fermented. Fermented means the raw beer wort. Wort is pronounced wort, but it's spelled W-O-R-T.
Okay.
And the wort goes in there, and wort is this unfermented beer. The yeast is added, and then the yeast chews through the sugars in the wort and actually makes alcohol and carbon dioxide. And that makes the beer.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's just so neat. How do you come up with your I'm sure you guys are a bit picky with your ingredients.
Yeah.
So how do you pick and choose those places where they're kind of coming from? I'm sure you're not just going to maybe you are going to Gordon's.
No.
But
okay. I don't know I wish I would have had the numbers. Maybe $200,000 a year.
Okay.
We spend at a company called LD Carlson. LD Carlson is out of Kent, Ohio. They are, let's call them a dealer.
Yeah.
I guess would be a name to call them. They get malt from around the world. So when we want to brew an authentic Czechoslovakian Pilsner, we order Czechoslovakian Pilsner. It came with the bag from Prague, Czech Pilsner. We get German malt.
That's so awesome.
Excuse me.
You're
we
fine.
also get English malt from England, and I don't think there's any Irish malt. There might be, but we never bought any.
Yeah.
But the bulk of our malt right now is coming from Montana,
Okay.
all over the middle big giant states of is Nebraska, where they grow a lot of wheat and stuff over there. Nebraska, Kansas, all that. And so what we do is we buy from LD Carlson, and they sell us pallets and pallets of beer. It's got to be a huge expense for us. It's easily a couple $100,000 a year.
But even so, that's what you were talking about earlier. That's the cutting corners aspect. You're ordering these products from these places.
Yeah, no, we're not buying
to give your clients or your customers the best thing that you can provide them.
Well, when we brew our German beers in the fall, they're brewed with real German-sourced Pilsner malts. Yeah. We're not just buying some American 6-row and just trying to pass it off as something. No, we're buying the real expensive stuff. And it's because what we're doing is a craft.
Yeah.
We're making a craft, and every recipe is unique. And a unique set of ingredients.
So which one, at the moment, or I guess looking back, which one's your baby? Which one's like Earnest's? This is Earnest.
Well, Crunchy Hippie is an Earnest-only beer.
Okay.
Several beers. I'm looking at the menu right now. Honey Buzz, Sienna.
Yeah.
Those started as homebrew recipes. Then you got Easy and Sincerity started out when Keith and I were in that year-long process before when we applied for our license till we were issued it, so we knew we needed to develop beers, so we brewed them as home brews, but brewed them with the intention they would go commercial.
Yeah.
But then you have Crunchy Hippie. Crunchy Hippie started out, I was riding my bicycle, and the name just, boom, hit me in my head. Crunchy Hippie. I didn't know what to do with the name. I thought, hey, that's a cool name for a beer.
Yeah.
Believe me, there's lots of dead ends in this. So we got one-offs we brewed through the years. They didn't go anywhere, but Crunchy Hippie is like 30% of our production.
Yeah.
Now, it's a huge beer for us. I mean, 3 out of every 10 beers we brew is Crunchy Hippie.
Yeah.
We brew 50 beers a year. Okay. So that means 30% out of 50 is one beer. So the other 49 beers are 70%. I don't know. Whatever. We need where's my mathematician friends? Anyways, what I'm getting to is, so I'm riding my bike.
1.5% of each other beer.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Right. There we go. Real estate should be about numbers, I would hope.
Yeah, that's about right. We're close. Anyways.
It's about numbers. Yeah, if I got a family with 6 kids, how many bathrooms do I need in my house?
The real question is, how big of a septic tank do you need?
Well, you sell in Michigan,
and
too.
That's right. Well, it could be in the sticks. We're talking about 2,000 gallons probably. You probably need 2.5 bathrooms. But anyways, you're going to get me going like you're going. So.
Okay. Anyways, so Crunchy Hippie was developed a name first. I'm riding my bicycle on River Road. I thought, hey, Crunchy Hippie. It took us a couple weeks. We're like, hey, let's make a beer around granola. We looked at granola ingredients: wheat, oats, honey, the stuff that goes in a granola bar.
Yeah.
So we created Crunchy Hippie. It's a weird brown ale. I try to promote it as a granola brown ale.
Yeah.
It's really hard to pin. It is not a style. there are beer contests that have like 50 different styles.
Yeah.
That doesn't even fit a single one of them. That would go in experimental.
It is a strange beer because like when I saw it,
It is, yeah.
for someone who's such like a noob, like I've had plenty of beer, but I wouldn't even say that I'm like a real uppity, like highbrow connoisseur or anything like that. But I saw it and I'm like, that's very dark. I don't know that I'll like it. And I tasted it. It's a beautiful bridge between like, you know, we'll call it the noob world and your guys' world.
No, you hit it right in the head, Kyle. Yeah, it is a beer that is dark in color.
Yeah.
And that comes from a malt called, it's Brown Supreme, also known as 120.
Okay.
Lovey Bond, and it's got another name too that eludes me, but I'll think of it eventually. But it's a really super dark malt that's got an inherent sweetness to it.
Yeah.
But it makes it dark, but it's not dark in the sense that it's bitter.
Yeah.
Because bitter darkness comes from roasted malts.
I love it.
Special
it's so neat.
B. That's what I'm thinking of. Special B. So Special B is another one. It's a Belgian type of malt. It's got a lot of dates, a lot of raisinness to it. And so we add a lot of Special B. So, but also the body is kind of thin because the oats that are added in the wheat tend to cut the body a little bit.
The dark stuff I've had are like milk stouts, Guinness.
Yeah, no, this is not
things
so
like
thick.
that. And
This is not as thick.
You see the darkness though, and you're kind of expecting that a little bit, and then you taste it, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like a kiss on the cheek. I love it. It's so good.
Well, how about this? You're making me thirsty for a Crunchy Hippie.
Yeah.
We have so many beers on. I always have my favorites. I haven't had a Crunchy Hippie in a while.
Oh, we can cut. We can go get another one.
We're going to cut?
Yeah, we'll cut real quick.
You want to do a countdown?
Look
When
at
are we
that.
going to cut? We're
Look
going
at
to cut.
We'll
and
cut
when we
right
come
now.
back, also my glass will be full.
Yeah,
of Crunchy
so it'll be
Hippie.
like magic.
It'll be
That's how
magic.
that's how they know it's edited.
Okay, we're coming back. We're coming
We'll be
back.
right back.
Okay.
Sure. No, this is a good time. Too bad you don't drink beer because this shit slaps. What? That's probably part. That's probably part of why we're fucking just going. Is because I'm just like we're vibing. I don't know if I've ever said fuck on a single episode, and I've said it twice. Yeah. Dude, when he said that shit about this movie, I was like, that is remarkable that he hit the nail right on the fucking head. That's what he was talking about. He's like, this isn't Adam Sandler. Oh, well, it's a different Adam Sandler movie. For the, because he whooped his ass too much. Well, I'll cut this in. Before we started, he was talking about he's never seen Billy Madison, but he'll bet it's a fish out of water movie. And he hit the nail right on the fucking head because obviously Billy Madison's a fish out of water movie. And now we got Happy Gilmore, which is the same goddamn thing, basically.
What? We got a new movie on?
But it's the same premise.
Okay.
It's just so funny. Like, you saw Adam Sandler, like, oh, it's a fish out of water movie. And it's exactly that.
That's what a lot of movies are.
Yeah.
Well, that's where drama comes from.
Sure.
Other than you got like good versus evil.
Yeah.
If you don't have good versus evil, then you need a fish out of water.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be a reason why people are watching. So, are we recording now? We're on? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, we need to give people a reason to watch us.
Sure.
You know, yeah. And that's where the
I'm
gaming
the fish
is.
out of water here, I think.
Well, yeah, in the brewery.
Which is fine.
And I can geek out about beers, but really, are we recording? Or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, my fish out of water is okay. I've been so obsessed with Earnest for years now. I would like to just become more human, and we're gonna not we. I don't know why I keep saying we, but there's a couple of people that are open up on this wall I'm touching right here.
Yeah.
Is a gaming lounge.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about more about gaming. I don't really play games, and you know about you got anybody in random knows more about games
He
than
plays
me.
tabletop games weekly.
I don't even know what what means table as opposed to what other kinds because they're not tabletop. What's that mean?
So like Dungeons and Dragons or board games, that's tabletop.
Yeah, so like Monopoly, Dungeons and Dragons, Yahtzee,
Sorry.
Sorry.
I
Yeah.
played Sorry.
Yeah. Any board game is considered a tabletop game. When you say gaming anymore for like millennials, they're thinking like video games.
Oh, I played Mario back in 1987, 8.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. That's what I'm seeing. So that's my fish out of water, and I want to try to try to do something different. Get out of my world.
Sure.
And so I would like to do some gaming.
A lot of coffee houses do that kind of tabletop gaming scene. You get
Yeah.
coffee and donuts and you sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons. This is a great space to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Can we start with Connect 4? I mean, Dungeons and Dragons sounds. I don't know much about. I don't know anything about it. But I know it's a whole world.
Sure.
And it seems like it's too. I need something simple.
Do is provide the space, and they bring.
But you already kind of do that. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you look at us. We came in with a box. My brother doesn't have a mic, so you guys might not be able to hear him. But he was suggesting playing Dungeons and Dragons here or at the place that's coming out next
I
door.
got a nephew that's into that, and I don't even want. I just zone out when he's
It's
talking
so much
about
fun,
it.
and that's
Is
kind of it.
Is it really?
It really
sounds
is.
like it's too complicated. That and
It's
there's
as complicated as you want it to be.
what's another one that's really complicated? It's got a lot of cards in it. It's popular.
Uno.
No. It's like a Dungeons and Dragons thing.
I hate
where
Uno.
where the cards are expensive.
Magic of the Gathering.
Yeah, Magic of the.
Yeah.
My nephew plays that, and I like zone out. It's like I don't even.
It's a whole nother world.
Okay.
Like you get that like beer for you is D&D for him.
Yeah.
So like he will just go, and that's his thing. Like you get in the
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. That's
read
been around for a long
I read
time.
an article on it, and my God, it's incredible
Yeah.
how monetized that has gotten, and the fan base is pretty incredible.
Well, millennials are so nostalgia based.
That's hilarious.
because
a
our
young
childhood-
generation should be no.
Yeah.
You don't have an. I mean, you're young.
Yeah.
Nostalgia is for older. But I know what you're saying.
But our childhoods were so kick ass. I mean, like, so like you had.
I'm Gen X. My
have-
generation was like a lot of stuff. I was allowed to drink beer by the state at age 19.
I was not
And
by
no
the
one even
state.
cared.
Not by the state, but I mean I was. But
But that's why I clarified it that
sure,
way.
well, you just see all the nostalgia stuff coming back. So like you guys have, like your Marvel stuff. That's
Oh yeah.
we like.
I
that.
bought all those comics in the
Right,
70s and
exactly.
80s.
Yeah. So like, but now it's getting more toward like, you see Mario movies and Sonic movies, and you see.
See, I was already out of high school by then.
Yeah.
And I was busy doing whatever.
Exactly.
Pretty much I was trying to get with the ladies, and I was
Yeah.
so unsuccessful. It took a lot of effort.
So
which
there-
means I had no effort, no other time spent the game.
I don't know
because-
I don't know if you know this or anyone listening even. So they're gonna do like a Marvel thing, but with Nintendo characters, and make a Super Smash Brothers universe.
What are we talking about now?
It's
What?
the video game movie adaptations.
Okay, it's really okay. That's
So
a
you
lot
have
of
you have your
stuff.
Mario, you know Zelda.
I know of it. Yeah.
Okay, so you have the character from Zelda, you have Mario.
Yeah.
In the late 90s, there's like a collaboration that's like Marvel versus Capcom.
Oh, I know what Marvel is.
Okay,
Capcom.
do you know what Street Fighter is?
Yeah, it was a famous. It was a video game that broke a lot of records.
Yeah.
For a standalone video, arcade game.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a 2D platformer,
And
mono.
I never played. Maybe I played Street Fighter one time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It got too complicated. I was too busy drinking back
That's
then. I
okay.
guess.
But no, that's where we're kind of gearing towards. So like, we were discussing it with a past guest even, is that, you're not like this, but the generation before millennials, I think they think that we want.
Well, I'm Gen X. There's another Gen Y before you guys? Is that how it works?
I think so.
Ah.
Because then there's Zoomers.
I don't know if this is like federally registered
I don't
titles.
know. Yeah, I know. It's like this is the
I know
FDA.
I'm Gen X. I graduated. I got out of high school in 1985. Is when
Okay.
I got. So that's where I'm at. So yeah.
Anyway, so the stuff that we were discussing was that the generation ahead of millennials think that we want more stuff, more games, more things, when what we really want is the stuff that we're discussing. Sitting here, interacting with each other.
Yeah.
Because the nostalgia bit that we were talking about with your Magic of the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, Pokemon cards you played with somebody, right? You traded Magic of the Gathering cards with people. You know what I mean? So like that's they're trying to capture that. Like I was with people when I was doing these fun things, and that's the nostalgia I'm trying to get back to.
Oh, okay. That's
So
nostalgia.
providing
Okay.
these spaces that you're
Yeah.
talking about next door.
Oh yeah, this
or
could
here,
be a cool thing they're building.
I totally agree. It sounds awesome, I think. And I think that's kind of what the, getting out of, I think that the digital aspect is you reach more people that way. Like we talked about when we first met was you can get a billboard, you can go pay for that. You can go get a park bench. You can get like somewhere in the newspaper. You can run ads on Facebook, or you can do a kick-ass podcast, and that's free. You know what I mean? So like it's just free marketing, and that's. So I think
We're not paying Drew, is what you're saying?
He's got Coke, and I
He's
got him some.
drinking these Coke.
He's got
yeah.
his Coke, and I
Yeah,
got him.
he's drinking-
We got him some food before we go. What,
Like, we mean Coca-Cola, not cocaine.
Hey, to each
Yeah.
their own. Ironically enough,
I don't know what Drew does in his private time, but it's Coca-Cola now.
Ironically enough, I was. I pay him kind of. I have a hoard of Dungeons and Dragons stuff from when I was more active.
D&D.
I pay him in D&D stuff. I got
See,
little.
this is where you're geeking out on this. and
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I want to get out of my wheelhouse. So the next time we meet, I would like to get a game. We'll keep it simple. Connect 4. It's got a little nostalgia of my grandfather. We had it at my grandparents' house.
Connect 4 Mancala. You should
What?
look.
I never heard of that one.
Mancala.
Oh,
It's
I think it's got like the beans.
the beads. Yep.
Okay, I don't know how to play.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyways,
It's the same idea though. You lose and it's not like any cleanup. It's just you'll start over.
but we can make a drinking game out of it.
Oh sure.
Well, it's like every move we'll take a sip.
Yeah.
And that would make the last part of the podcast more interesting. Or,
would be a lot of
or
fun.
embarrassing, whichever. It's the same thing.
No, yeah. We were kind of talking about that halfway, where you start with a question. The question would be, whatever, and then you finish the podcast after you're down so many beers with the same question and see what the response
Like
is.
a game of telephone.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be nuts.
We started this an hour ago. You still feel the same way about whatever it is. Central and Secor being closed for the last few weeks.
Jesus Christ, I know, yeah. Well, I've been drinking beer. I'm a proud beer drinker. I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to get too serious about the beer drinking, but believe me, my brain sometimes like Swiss cheese. It does kill brain cells, believe me.
Yeah.
I got the brain cells I need, but some of the stuff, gets lost and everything.
Sure.
So it's nice. Maybe we could reconnect with some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The gaming thing would be cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, you have some fantastic ideas, and that's why I was kind of attracted to getting here and sitting with you guys, because like your community outreach stuff is just so fun.
Yeah.
Doing like the stuff with like the comedy shows and things like that. You have the food truck outside when we pulled up, and they already
Yeah.
have their own other thing going on, but they're in your guys' parking lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, it's just a super. What are some other interesting like community outreach ideas you have other than maybe this future podcast, comedy shows? What
Yeah.
are some other things you're?
Well, the comedy show is great. You mentioned that. I
Yeah.
work with David Crumley. David Crumley is a great guy. He's funny, but he's never funny with me because we're always talking about how to play and stuff and get stuff organized. Yeah. And then he's good. We got comedy coming up. I think on February. What's Valentine's Day? 14th.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually February 14th.
Yeah, you just shot me an invite, but it's.
Yeah, downtown. It's
Yeah.
downtown. But here at Westgate, coming up at the end of the month, I'm not going to bring my calendar out. You can always look it up. Anyways, there's North Coast Boil Company, and they're bringing a shrimp boil here.
Ooh.
It's the first time we've done it. They're going to be, you see our patio there?
Yeah.
They're going to be set up on our patio. They're going to have the shrimp boil, and it is really trending on Facebook. I got an event created for this
Yeah.
North Shore Boil Company. I love the idea of the shrimp boil. But they're going to have what I really like, I'm okay on the shrimp guy.
Yeah.
It's going to be you should see the pictures of it. It's got the corn on the cob in it. It's an actual boil you like with shrimp in it, but they got the andouille sausage I like. That goes in gumbo normally.
We'll have to be
They're going to
here.
have cornbread,
have to be
and
here.
it's a very reasonable
might be-
price.
it might be
It's
Earnest Brew Part
$20,
2.
and they got this huge plate they're going to fix you. But they're limited to 75 meals.
Okay.
I have a feeling it's going to be successful, and I want them
Yeah.
back. Because what I really want is a crawfish boil.
Yeah.
And they can do all that too, but we're starting with shrimp. And we'll go to that. We'll eventually do a crab boil.
Okay.
Crab will probably bring it more elevated price because
Sure.
crab's more expensive than shrimp or
My
crawfish.
our older brother got married in New Orleans.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
So
That's that style
that's
of boil.
what I'm saying. So you're
Yeah.
saying all the right words. I'm like,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
we haven't had that in hell. It's 2024, so almost 10 years, which is crazy to think about. so crazy.
But that is a cool event, and that's new.
Yeah.
And that's for the community. I'm making no money on it. I'm not charging them anything. Whatever they sell is fine.
Yeah.
And what we had at Madeline Smokehouse is a food truck that comes, I'm pretty sure they're from Waseon, Ohio. And they came up yesterday.
Yeah.
Shitty day. We tried to wave them off. They came to Earnest Brew Works in South Toledo.
Yeah.
We tried to tell them, hey, we tried to tell them yesterday was Thursday. We tried to tell them on Wednesday we're not going to be that busy.
Yeah.
The weather's crappy. And Madeline's guy was like, "Hey, I put this brisket on. I need it on for 24 hours. I'm ready to. I'm coming no matter what."
Yeah.
And he came. And yesterday I was hanging out at South Toledo.
Okay.
Because I'm for the community. I'm telling you, cars were pulling up.
That's so
They were
awesome.
just getting food truck, buying no beer
Sure.
from me.
Yeah.
and getting food truck and then feeding their family and leaving.
But that's a couple, like,
That's what I'm for. And what I really get from this, and I saw one family get out. It must, I don't know, I don't know why the whole family had to come. It was a family six people got out of a van.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they need the whole family, because one person could have just got it
Sure.
all and drove it home.
Yeah.
But they went to the food truck, they ordered their food, and they left. And I was thinking, hey, how this works for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I made no money from them. They
Sure.
just got that. What works for me is maybe one of the people in that family, has got a buddy that loves craft beer and says,
Yeah.
hey, that person said, hey, I just went there.
That's all it
For
takes.
that, and it's
Yeah.
word of mouth.
Yes.
Word of mouth is the best.
Yes.
I mean, it's better than a multi-million-dollar advertising campaign. If you
Yeah.
get word of mouth, for you, if you sell a house, if you have an even if you probably got some people that are looking that
Yeah.
never buy,
Yep.
but they're always throwing the word out. Hey,
Yep.
Kyle's patient. He's good. He's not steering you in the wrong direction. He's not trying to sell you a house that you don't want.
Yep.
And word of mouth is the best.
You're preaching to the choir, man.
I know.
I love it. And that's the free aspect of it,
Yeah.
right? Because now you have these folks that could just come by and they see it all. And I think about that stuff all the time, because the turnover in my business is so, like, hard. So, like, the average realtor does 4 deals a year.
That's not that many.
No. You can't even keep the lights on for that. I'll tell you.
I've drank 4 beers tonight by myself.
Right.
Maybe more than 4.
So I'll tell you that, like, on average, I'll say in our area, the commission I'm making on, like, a single deal, like $3,500.
Yeah, no, okay, now when I'm an individual, I think that's a lot of money, $3,500.
Yeah.
But when you're really thinking of a job,
Yeah.
if you did 10 sales a year, that's $35,000.
Yeah.
I got some barkeeps that are approaching $35,000 a year.
Right.
I mean, and they're part time. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it's not that much money.
So it's
when you were a Jeep worker,
Yeah.
with overtime in some of those good years, they were 6 figures.
Oh, my brother makes $100,000 a year.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
he's in there all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But
to
your
do that
point,
in real estate, you would have to sell like 20 houses or more.
That's about right, yeah.
I know. So it's
Yeah.
it's a hustle.
But even so to your point, if you just keep that mindset for anyone that's like thinking of doing their own thing, whether it's a brewery or getting into real estate or any of the other stuff that we've like interviewed people with, if you just keep it genuine, it makes it so much easier than being like
Genuine meaning earnest.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
If you just
Yeah,
keep
earnest,
you
yeah.
keep those core values like
The core. Your core.
So like I have folks that I extend the olive branch to, new agents, where I'm like, hey, if you guys need anything, come to me. I'm top 5% in our area. I can say that. So come to me. And then they usually fall off because that's just, unfortunately, it's a competitive business. And then, again, to your point, word of mouth. Kyle was super cool to me when I was trying to come up.
Yeah.
If anybody was trying to help me, it was him. He'll help you. And it's such a teetery thing, but if you're genuine about it, you're not thinking about it. I'll just be nice to everybody, and chances are it'll work out. And so far for both of us, it seems like it really has.
Yeah. Well, this podcast is called Best in the Business.
Yeah.
I mean, you actually have a quantifiable way to measure. You say you're in the top 5%.
Right.
There's a measurement for that.
Sure.
For me, so congrats.
Thank
You're
you.
the best. I gotta believe 5% is best in the business.
Yeah.
I was considered 20% best
Sure,
in the business. So
sure.
you're in the 5. But for me, there's no measurement for that. For me, how I measure myself is I got this scenario, and this is what I really am here for.
Yeah.
Is suppose you have a cousin of a cousin that lives in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon is the epicenter of craft beer.
Oh, I
Or
bet,
San
yeah.
Diego County, California.
I'm sure there's a ton of crunchy hippies up
Yeah.
there.
What I'm saying is, these people know their craft beer. And your
Yeah.
cousin of a cousin says, "Hey, for some oddball reason, I got to come to Toledo for a business meeting. I'm
Yeah.
in town for 2 days, even though I never met you, but you're like my mother's brother's son of a mother,
Sure.
whatever." And he said, "Hey, I only got time to visit one brewery. What brewery do I visit?"
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. If the name is, if you only got time for one brewery, you're in Toledo and you love craft beer, you got to go to Earnest.
Yeah.
To me, that's how I measure my success.
This is a good location for that.
And it cannot be measured.
No.
There is no statistics kept. But I have ran into people when I talk at a bar, and they are in here on business. They only come to Earnest once. They're from Texas or Florida
Yeah.
or North Dakota or wherever, and they're going, "Hey,
What a great feeling is that?
This is recommended. I come here."
Yeah.
And that's really what I want. I want to be if you only have one time to visit a brewery in Toledo,
Yeah.
it's got to be Earnest.
That's so
now,
cool.
that doesn't make me any money. You're buying 2 beers and maybe a sticker,
No.
and you're flying back to North Dakota or Kansas or wherever,
But
Florida.
It's kind of validation,
But
though.
that's what I'm looking for. Yes,
It's kind of validation. You're a staple of your community.
That's what I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's the and it's never a measure I'm sure about. I mean, but anyways, I love those stories.
Yeah.
When I run into customers that are from out of town and they're like, "Hey, it was recommended," or I did some, like a 10-minute Google search, reading some reviews.
Yeah.
And like I came and I say, "Your brewery was the brewery for my style, what I like.
Yeah.
And what I want from a brewery." You know.
I'll tell you what my measuring stick is, and it's the 5% thing we'll say is one, but
Yeah, that's a pretty good thing, Kyle.
my brokerage is by and large a bit older, even older than like they're even a little more seasoned than you, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Some baby boomers is my
yes,
the generation
so
above me.
the way I measure it is that I am more alien. You know, so back when you were in school, I'm sure if someone called you a nerd, it was offensive.
Yeah, it was.
So nowadays, if someone calls you a nerd, it's like we're kindred spirits.
Yeah.
So that's when I say an alien, like I look at these folks and I'm doing different dances than they are, but I'm making the same kind of money that they are. So that means that I'm doing good things, which
Yeah, good.
and a lot of the folks that I see and that I have on our podcast are kind of the same way. So when I say that you're kind of an alien, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just you stand out in a crowd is what I'm getting at. And that's what I think Earnest, again, it kind of is. And so like hearing everything that you're saying, I don't see any other local places doing and talking about the stuff that you are. Like you're just on the news even. Like you're a busy bee, man, and it's so cool.
We were Channel 11.
Yeah.
Well, they got a lot of content they needed to fill. But that what we are most recently was we did a really cool project with Yakima Chief Hops. With Yakima Chief Hops,
Yeah.
it's got in Yakima, Washington State.
Yeah.
But also they have another headquarters in Belgium.
Okay.
They're a worldwide hop company, but they chose us to work with for a really cool hop project.
Yeah.
And so I sent out a press release, and Channel 11 picked it up, and that's what we were tapped for. And it is a really cool project. We've never done it before. We'll probably never do it again.
Yeah.
That a major worldwide hop supplier would pick us to brew a experimental batch, and we call it the name and the designation of the hop from Yakima Chief is a 2030. It's
Okay.
the hop of the future, 2030 being 2030.
Sure.
And so we brewed with that, and it turned out very well, which I'm not drinking now. Now I'm drinking.
Yeah, we're crunchy.
What am I drinking?
Crunchy hipping it up, man.
Okay, this is the beer we talked about
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
It was Name First. Name First is unusual. We had several beers that we brewed, and we didn't have a name for it still. One is called Batch 52.
Okay.
We had no name for it.
That's
We've
a
only
fu-
brewed
that's
it
a-
one time.
that's a good name.
It was our 52nd batch.
Yeah.
Where I think we're at, I should know, we're at 3,000 batches now. Anyways, we're at a lot of batches. But Batch 52 had no name, and it's a one-off. I think it was a Red Imperial. But
Okay.
But I haven't had a Crunchy Hippie in months, and I did
Yeah.
want to talk about this. This is our best-selling beer. A lot
Yeah.
of our production goes into this. It's warmed up now.
You're about halfway through it.
Yeah, the character is coming through.
do you get
this
it?
This beer is always served too cold. Even from us, it's too cold. When it warms up, the characteristics of the hippie come through.
I'm going too fast. is
No,
what you're
it's
saying.
it's warming up.
Okay.
It's warming up. The Crunchy Hippie is such a pleasant brown.
Yeah.
You could drink it, all day long and keep quaffing it.
Sure.
If we had some great sunlight, you hold up the sunlight, you'll see garnet highlights, like a deep red highlights come through it. It is a great beer. If poured properly, which we try to do here,
Sure.
you get a nice thick head on it. It's an off-white color. It is just a fabulous beer. And this we stumbled across. It was not brewed to be our flagship. Some breweries set out to say, hey, we're going to do this, this, and this, and this is
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
our
yeah.
flagship beer.
Yeah.
This,
We're trying to get
believe
it
me,
perfect.
We got lots of dead ends.
Yeah,
One of
yeah.
them is Batch 52. They never even got a real name. It's kind of sad. It's kind of like it just got put to the dumpster.
How often do you brew that one? Do you ever?
Never, no.
No?
It was a one-off.
Yeah.
We got so many one-offs in our portfolio, but Crunchy Hippie actually pushed through. We did not intend at all for this to sell so much. It's our number one selling beer.
Did you guys just introduce them slowly? Like we had when we were supposed to get together last week, I had unfortunate circumstances like we talked about.
Yeah.
And my listeners are well aware.
Some flare-ups is what it was.
No, it was
Okay.
far worse than that.
Okay.
It was, but anyway, so you guys just introduced a beer last week.
There it is. I know there's some
The
there's
mascot's
some weird
out.
dog action going on here. I don't know. We're dog friendly, but that's too friendly.
But you guys had a release last week, and is that how you guys normally do it? You release one beer and see how the reception is. Do you like a mass like tasting, or how do you kind of gauge?
It's not that complicated.
Okay.
We brew a batch, and then we just we were talking about is when I was hitting that with Yakima Chief it was beer 2030. And no, we release it in all three places. We create an event on Facebook so that we can highlight it.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, maybe 10 times a year, less
Okay.
than once a month. We'll highlight a beer. We feel it's important enough. Also, we brewed in enough volume that we only highlight a beer. Like this one went in a can, so you can get it at Joseph's.
Yeah.
You can get it at Harvest. And other select retailers, Churchill's definitely has it. So we only try to highlight a beer you can kind of get because for us it doesn't make a sense to highlight a beer that's only served in one location.
Sure.
Because then everyone's like, well, where's it at? So about 10 times a year we have a beer that's notable like that. Maybe only 8.
So
yeah.
So you guys are you guys constantly experimenting, or how do you guys come up with like the next thing? I mean, you obviously got these, this other company kind of helping out with the 2030, but
Yeah.
With your other new ones that are kind of getting introduced, we'll say whatever the next one is, you guys are already working on it? Have you already worked on it? How does that stuff go?
Well, that's something that I don't like about my business. I'm looking right now at the calendar for 2024, and like I say, Crunchy Hippie's on there.
Yeah.
And so are most of the beers that we brewed. There's not much room for new beers.
Okay.
Say we have room for 50 beers a year. Well, we have 50 beers, which is about right.
Yeah.
And we got a new idea. That means we got to cut something.
Sure.
So we have cut stuff, and then I hear from customers like JPA, which
Yeah.
is Japanese Pale Ale. I brewed that one as a home brewer because Sriracha Ace hops is a hop that originated in Japan, became available when I was a home brewer.
Okay.
And it was a cool hop. Back when I was home brewing my early days, it was rare to get a new hop breed. Now it's like I lost total track of how many hops. It's unbelievable how big it is. But back in the old days, when a new hop came out, every home brewer wanted to brew with it. So my mother's actually from Okinawa.
Okay.
She's which is Japanese.
Yeah.
So I'm half Japanese.
I'm
And,
half a weeb, so
Okay.
I love that. Yeah, I'm a big anime
Yeah.
Japanese film. I keep
Yeah.
looking at your Godzilla thing. I'm like, I wonder if Godzilla's gonna come up.
I
Like-
know the Godzilla
Yeah.
jukebox we're looking at. Yes, yes. I teased my nephews and nieces. That's why my mother left Japan because of Godzilla. But that wasn't it.
That's so good. But anyways.
But anyways, Sriracha Ace hops were available when I was a home brewer, and I was like, I gotta brew with this thing, and I gotta pay some homage. I had no idea back when I was a home brewer that what rice meant to it, but I wanted to add rice to it, so I added some rice to it. Now I know fully what rice does. It lightens the body, lets the hops show through. Anyways, JPA was a really cool homebrew recipe, and we introduced it. We actually canned it. We had it for like maybe, we've been in business now 7 years. We probably made JPA 5 of the 7, but we
Yeah.
dropped it because we had to make room for new stuff.
Yeah.
And now I have customers tell me, oh, why don't you make that anymore? And it's like, well, we can't make everything.
Yeah, yeah,
you know? So it's kind of like, this is one I don't want to talk about too much, but my entrepreneurship started when I was in my early 20s, say 22 or so.
Yeah.
I had a record store.
Okay.
And I learned this in a record store. Well, I say record, but really it was mostly CDs back then, because we're
Sure.
talking 1989 is when I started this bad boy. Called Crossroads Music and More.
Okay.
The more wasn't much, but anyways, it was a bad idea I had. But one thing I realized was it was a bad idea is, let's use Van Halen for an example. If Van Halen's got a catalog of music, you got to carry all the Van Halens, and they come out with a new album and carry all that. It's
Yeah.
an ever-increasing inventory. You
Yep.
cannot carry, if you're carrying AC/DC, you got to have all their full catalog.
Yep.
Because someone's going to come in and they want their first album from AC/DC. They don't even care about all the other stuff. So your inventory is always increasing. You always have to keep expanding. And with a brewery with only 18 taps I can't keep expanding. Stuff's got to drop.
That
I
was
got to
the-
drop something.
That was the first thing I was thinking of when you brought it up, was a set list.
Yeah.
You know, you got your set list. Like
Yeah,
we got,
exactly. Set
yeah.
list is a good example.
Yeah.
You got a certain time frame.
Yeah.
But you got your faves, you got your standards in your set list people expect to hear, and then but you want new stuff to introduce, and that's where we're at. So, but downtown.
Yeah.
Downtown is it. Let's use Hipster Van Gogh as an example. Hipster Van Gogh is I'll call it a Belgian single. Everybody knows from Belgian beers they got a double, a triple, and a quadruple. But a Belgian pale ale, believe me, the people in Belgium, they're not drinking triples all the time. They're going to their local bar, they're drinking a normal Belgian pale ale. It goes about 5.5%.
Yeah.
We brewed one called Hipster Van Gogh. Great artwork for my man Sanderson.
Sure.
And but we brewed it one time, and fans liked it. But we never seemed to be able to fit it in because it took like 3 or 4 months to sell, which was a dog. You know, so we thought we're never brewing this thing again. But then we opened downtown. It's got a small system. It's about a fourth the size of Sausalito.
Okay.
So we brewed Hipster down there one more time. And I put it on Facebook. Hey, all the fans of Hipster, which all 5 of them showed up. It's good. I like the beer personally.
Yeah.
But it did not resonate with the general public.
Yeah.
But downtown gives me that. And JPA that I mentioned earlier, we'll brew that one downtown.
That's cool.
We will.
Yeah, when you guys do, I'll have to come out and try it. Do you guys do you personally, of the, you said, what is it, about 3,000 now you're saying?
What?
Cooks, different recipes, or?
Oh, we got so many. I don't even know
which
the real
one,
number.
other than like batch 52, what's another one that's like a standout that you really love?
Oh, one we haven't brewed, I think it's been a couple years now, and I think I know what I do with it. I took a really good sabbatical, vacation, whatever you want to call it, looking for inspiration in Vermont back in November. Vermont is really famous for some great breweries. I went to Alchemist and Lawson's.
Okay.
Then I also went to Massachusetts for Trillium and Treehouse. Anyways, these are world-renowned breweries. These breweries kick ass. But I needed some inspiration. And when I was at Lawson's, and I've had Lawson's Finest Liquids, and I've had some of their beers before, but when I was actually there drinking them, I drinking one I really loved there at Lawson, Sip of Sunshine.
Yeah.
And Sip of Sunshine, I've had it before in a can, but when you're having it fresh on draft at the brewery, it's a little different.
Oh, yeah.
But Sip of Sunshine, I realized why I like this so much. It reminds me of a beer I brewed called Have a Nice IPA. And Have a Nice IPA is our strongest beer in a certain tier, which got to do with the geeky stuff about pricing.
Sure.
Anyways, when you get more alcohol in it, it makes it more expensive because there's more ingredients.
Yeah.
But I got some really good cues and some stuff I was influenced by that I think it's very similar to Have a Nice IPA that I'm going to take from that. And I haven't even talked to my partner about it.
Yeah.
But I do want to introduce this, and we'll probably just do it downtown. But I'm going to take the lessons I learned from Lawson's. Lawson's is so badass, so cool. But I want to take those lessons and put them into that. And it's not much of a lesson. It's some tweaking, just some more hop brightness I want to shine through. Yeah. But it's a really great beer.
That's such a wonderful art, and I can only imagine, like,
oh, it is an art, and I could not hit it.
Yeah.
And now it will be drinkable, and it will be good. It won't be like this thing totally missed. Because believe me, if I change nothing on Have a Nice IPA, it's a really good IPA. But I want to tweak it slightly because what I was influenced by when I went over to visit this world-renowned brewery.
Yeah. So it's just cool hearing you talk about, and I love hearing people talk about stuff that they love, just because it's cool.
Yeah.
I get to, like, everybody. It might be the alcohol talking, but everybody's kind of just. Everybody's kind of
It's
just.
the hippie talking.
It is the hippie, right? Like, I can tell you stories about myself all the time, but you haven't been me, so it's just different. So I get to hear.
Well, tell me. No one's listening. Just
cool
tell me
stories.
a story. Tell me something embarrassing.
Oh gosh, something embarrassing. I once upon a time, there's
here we
6
go.
of us walking from Kroger's at Miracle Mile, and we saw a Jeep pull up. It was an old Jeep Cherokee. Probably like a 98 Jeep Cherokee, that when it was like the older kind of style body.
Yeah.
And we could tell it was an undercover cop. But by the way, he was like creeping up and looking at us. We were a bunch of little shits. We were probably like 15, 16.
Okay.
We were like, let's just run.
Yeah.
We'll look like we're up to no good. It'll be funny.
Believe me, the cop didn't give a shit about us.
We took off. And then you hear this guy's tires, skrrr, he comes after us. We go back behind Miracle Mile, over Lasky and Jackman. half of the people just dart into Bowman Park. It's pitch black out, middle of the night. I just kind of stood behind one of the buildings, and then the other few guys jumped into a dumpster.
You did not jump in a dumpster?
No, we didn't do anything wrong even, which is extra hilarious.
No.
But like we kind of saw like
You're full of that young energy.
yeah, the public school in us and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
young
yeah,
energy,
yeah.
like you said. And we were just like, oh shit, the cops! It's like we didn't even do anything. We have, gummy worms and Gatorade. Like what?
Well, yeah.
So yeah, there's my young dumb story. Anyways,
That's great.
this is
All
fun.
right. All right. I don't know why I'm looking at my watch. I don't even know when we started.
Yeah, you guys have been doing so much cool and interesting stuff, and like we've already talked about all of the different community outreach and how I'm a bit of an alien. It seems like you guys are doing unique and interesting things. What's on the horizon for Earnest? You guys have already talked about the Valentine's thing. What else is there? You've talked about your interest with doing something like this. What do you have kind of in mind, or what do you want to do to kind of push Earnest even more into the forefront of people's kind of Toledo's beer?
Well, here's the deal. We're relatively new, say 6-7 years in the business, but for craft beer in Toledo, we're very mature. When you look at how many breweries existed before me, it's hardly any. I mean, there's not much. So what we're trying to fill is fill the community's enjoyment with liquids.
Yeah.
We got some really cool beers coming up ahead, and we just try to always innovate and have great beers, which is good for you if you really care about craft beer and geeking out, which not many people do.
Sure.
I'm just saying it's a lot to try to pay
You'd be
attention to
surprised.
beers.
There's a lot of folks that I know that were excited that I'm doing this.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that helps me.
Yeah.
My head just grew a little bit right now.
Oh,
right on camera.
Yeah.
Okay, but what we're really trying to do is find some more community things. We did a cool thing last year here. It was Catter Day.
Yeah.
We invited 2 cat rescue type of groups.
Okay.
We advertised as Catter Days. It was Saturday. It was all exploring cat culture. We actually had a couple of people come in dressed up wearing cat printed stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
That is
And
awesome.
we had a cat dad. We had a guy come in. He was a proud cat dad, and he was proud to be a cat dad. So just for, I call them goofy things, stuff that's not hitting. There's no other place that's ever done
It's niche.
Catter Day. They've done maybe fundraisers and stuff, but we pulled it together for niche. Yeah, exactly. We're always trying to identify and trying to do some stuff. I was talking with a friend of mine today. He's a retired school teacher, Randy Nissen. Shout out. But anyways, he's talking about putting together a speaker series.
Yeah.
Randy Nissen's a retired school teacher for history.
Yeah.
He's tied in with some of those history people that have written books, people that have published papers. But let's do a lecture series.
Yeah.
Imagine there's a topic you like. Say the one that I like is Edmund Fitzgerald. The Edmund Fitzgerald is a famous ship that sunk in 1974.
Yeah.
But you ready for this one? The captain of the ship that went down with the ship, because all 29 men died on that ship. The captain is from Toledo.
Really?
But that's not where I'm going. The captain's first name was Ernest.
No way.
Ernest McSorley. Anyways, but to do some stuff like that, it's a small group. Maybe 10, 20 people might show up for some of these lectures, but those 10 or 20 people will find it interesting.
Dude, do that.
Yes,
Please.
Yes.
I love hearing that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there was a, we sat a few episodes ago with a local, he does movies. He's a movie director.
Well, I would like that, to have that person come in and speak about it.
Yeah, and they do like a mix and mingle with people that are kind of in that industry.
Yeah.
Which is extra niche. It's Toledo, Ohio
Oh,
now.
it is. In Toledo, there's
It's
not
Toledo,
much.
Ohio.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
know,
Hollywood, right? Or New York or like whatever.
Or Atlanta.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I love that stuff. Invite us to the next one.
Yeah.
We're going to the next one.
Good. Now, that's a person that could do a speaker series.
Yes.
And because I have a lot of people follow me on Facebook, I
Yeah.
put it out there, and we'll get 20 people here. 20.
Yeah.
And those people will be engaged. They'll really like to be here for it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think that especially like your other 2 locations are very cool and awesome. But
Thank you.
there's something unique about this strip of Central Avenue.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know if you've thought about it or noticed it, but we did one with Orchard Nutrition, which is literally across the street.
Okay.
But there's so many small businesses on Central Avenue
Yeah.
where it's just kind of weird. I don't know if it's like affordability or if it's just exposure or what, but you guys are all cool. And I don't know that there's anything really like it, small business-wise, between Douglas and Secor in the rest of town.
Oh, there's a lot of variety.
Yeah. Whether it's like, gyms, restaurants, breweries,
Yeah. Well, thank
yoga
you.
studios. So I think you're in the right spot. And when you're talking about folks coming into town, you're in an even better spot. You have the hotels around the corner.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
You have the interstate right there. Well, especially with this location. But even so, you have the other two, which is just amazing. Like, I think you guys are doing awesome things.
Well, thanks, Kyle.
And I'm excited to have met you when I did. And
Thank you.
I'm excited to kind of, hop on and
Yeah.
I don't know if I need to do a lecture, but I'll come to all of them anyway.
No, you do good. Hey, what I would like is I've been so busy with Earnest Brew Works for years.
Yeah.
I would like some more humanity brought in.
Yeah.
And we got I keep pointing at this wall here. We got a gaming lounge come in. I would like to play some games.
Yeah.
And we can start out real simple, but I would like to get some different kind of we'll call this a podcast, a broadcast,
Yeah.
whatever, video content.
Yeah.
Content. But I would like to play some games, and I will be very honest. Humor will come from my ineptitude.
Yeah.
And, like understanding the rule. But I really want to do some more stuff. All I've been doing is beer for so long.
Sure.
Ugh. It'd be so nice to do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Board games. That's good.
Yes. Let's do it.
You
Let's
just
do some
learn. You could have a game master where he
stuff. So
could.
you want to? We'll put something together.
We'll figure it out.
Okay,
we'll have
do
fun
it.
with it. We
We'll do
talked
it.
about
We'll do
another thing where you're kind of sitting there with like, and this is my own ignorance.
Riff it on that idea.
This is my own ignorance.
Yes.
Where you're sitting there like churning the butter or
No,
the
no,
beer.
The brewer to brewer, I want to do.
Right. So in my brain,
Yeah.
that's all it is.
Well, that's different than the gaming. The brewer to brewer is an idea that I threw out there.
And that'd be
where I need a
fabulous.
moderator.
Yeah.
And Kyle can moderate.
Yeah.
Where I bring a brewer up. Let's say Zach.
Okay.
Zach from Juniper, which I got a couple of Juniper's beers on here.
Yeah.
But I invite Zach up, and we just talk. We get lost in conversation.
Yeah.
We'll talk about our operations, how we develop recipes.
Yeah.
It's all beer geek stuff. The general public might not find it interesting, but believe me, we just had a conference in town that had 700 people attend, and the national conferences have like thousands.
Yeah.
There are some beer geeks out there.
Yeah.
So that'd be more of a beer geek thing. And also Zach and I would really enjoy just riffing and talking to each other. Yeah.
Well, that's something that we talk about all the time. And our brother's a big whiskey guy.
I don't even know what the fuck's going on with whiskey at all. When people talk about it, I'm like, I just zone out.
But my saying for any of that stuff is that nerds herd. They find what
There's
they.
a reason it rhymes. Yeah.
Yeah, they nerds herd. They find their
yes,
thing
yes.
that they love.
Yeah.
We were talking about the Toledo game room on our way over here, and they all go there because they heard it's just their spot.
Yeah.
And again, to the point of your conference. So I mean, you guys are doing awesome things.
Thank
so
you.
I mean,
Thank you.
we've been going for a bit, but we'll do more. I've had a blast. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
And I think that we're probably, at least from my perspective, I'm better for having met you anyway. So if you want to go ahead and give yourself a shameless plug, I give everybody the chance. There's your camera. Where can we find you at your 3 locations if they want to reach out and maybe order some beer?
Yeah, we're in South Toledo, West Toledo, where we're sitting now, in downtown. But Earnest Beers are at select retailers and cool bars in town, and whatever. Earnest has been around, but I'm really here for the community. So I really like the idea of working with Kyle here to try to get some more community aspects out. And also, I'll just say, frankly, I like the entertainment value. I like the idea that I'm enjoying myself and having a good time drinking. And I do like the game idea. I like the brewer idea.
I love it.
There's some different stuff we're going to do with this.
We're going to get creative.
Well,
and I'm
thank you.
excited
Thanks,
about
Kyle.
it. I cheers you, but I'm
Oh,
all
and thanks
out.
to Drew off camera here.
Yeah, without Drew, none of this would happen.
Well, yeah.
And if you guys need any help buying, selling, or investing in real estate, I'm Kyle Russell. This has been an absolute pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for making time for us. Thank you for letting us occupy your space.
Oh, you're good.
And we'll talk to everybody soon. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. We're good?